Welcome to IQ session number 68.
Take 2.
This is part 2 of the How to Be Unshakable series, and we are so grateful that you're here joining us. Thank you so much. We've had some incredible feedback on part 1 of the series, so I highly recommend listening to that one because we are brilliant from time to time. That was also in take 1. Matt, over to you, Matt.
Oh, well, thank you. What an introduction for yourself.
Yeah.
No, well, welcome everyone back to the second episode of our lovely series, I suppose you can call it. This one today is you can't change people, but you can change yourself, and it's a really important one. And I think once I personally got this through my head, it really made sense as to why I was getting frustrated with a lot of things, and things weren't sort of panning out the way I wanted them to. But once I let go of that need for everyone to know what I know or believe what I believe, then things started to change for me. So you can't change people, but you can change yourself. And so number 1 step, there's only 3 points that are super simple. Step 1 is someone's opinion is someone's opinion. Okay. Now you cannot change someone else's opinion. Because it's their opinion, and no matter how much you believe in the opposing side of it, it's their opinion for whatever reason they have chosen. Trying to change their opinion is the equivalent, I believe, is trying to spot reduce fat loss. So it's like saying,
it can't happen.
I only want to take fat off my right hip, not the left one, just the right one. You cannot do it. It's the same as going to the deep end of the pool, grabbing a bucket and saying, I only want water from down this end. It doesn't work that way. Okay. And someone else's opinion is done the exact same way. It is their opinion for whatever reason they have established this opinion. So what I believe is that you need people to understand that there's always 2 sides to every story.
Yes.
And their opinion is based on their side of the story. Your opinion is based on your side of the story.
And it's also formulated from your worldviews, from your values, from your upbringing. There's so many contributing factors to this.
And then we're not saying there's a right and a wrong. There's just there is this way and there's this way. And it's up to you to decide which way you want to go. And we're going to talk a little bit about that throughout the session. And so I'm going to open it right off with a really curly subject off the bat, because I feel like it's really relevant right now in the time that we're in.
It's not like
and it's
controversial.
Very controversial, Sheridan. And it's to do with currently right now with vaccinations, for example. It's a really good hot topic. It's do you want to be pro-vaccination or you're anti-vaccination? And again, like we said, there's 2 sides to every story. And I want to share a story with someone that I spoke to. And they are anti-vaccination. Now, so I questioned them about why they were anti-vaccination. I said, were you always anti-vaccination? The person said, no, not at all. Their parents were vaccinated. They were vaccinated. They vaccinated their kids. And they kept going down there. And I said, oh, but what made you vaccinate your kid? You're an anti-vaxxer, but now you did. Please tell me about that. And I said, why did you do it? And she went on to tell me, she said, I did it because everyone else was doing it. That was her decision on vaccinating. That was it, right? And then I said, well, you're now anti-vaccination. So tell me what happened there. Like, you've made a transition. You've gone from one belief to another. Please share with me what happened. And for this particular person, they nearly lost their daughter in the process of a vaccination going in. So unemotionally, if you take out your view, no matter what, if that happens to one of your children, you're going to have a different view on what just happened. So now you can empathize with her or sympathize with her from her viewpoint on why she has that view towards anti-vaccination. It's not that she's malicious and she's irresponsible and all this sort of stuff. Heck, she went down the road of being vaccinated and then she changed her view. She just doesn't want people to go through the same heartache and scares that she had for you on the other side of it. So again, her view, other person's view. Totally up to you which way you go, of course. Now, the other side of it is, if you were to, like she was initially, is she was vaccinated and she was always doing that sort of thing. And that was just what she did. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's her view and her direction she took. But like I said at the start, I asked her, and if you really heard this, she said that she made a decision based off someone else's decision. She didn't actually make a decision for herself. She just did what everyone else was doing. That was the formulation of her decision-making process. So again, she didn't actually make a decision for herself. She just made it based on what everyone else was doing. And I really need you to be really clear about this one here, is just because everyone's doing something doesn't make it the right thing to do, okay? And I'm going to end this point. It's just a really short, sharp point. And I'm not saying you must be anti-vaccination, you must be pro-vaccination. That's not what this is about.
No.
My point coming across to you is that their opinion is their opinion for whatever reason that has been impressed upon them. Initially, that lady's opinion was impressed upon them because of their parents had vaccinated them as children. So they and all their friends and family were doing it. So that was their belief and their understanding of what was right. It took change in her life and nearly loss to then have a different viewpoint. And all that it caused her to do was to go and do some research on why that happened and has it happened before and what's going on. And then she explored that option. And she, from her findings, changed the viewpoint. She didn't change it because someone said, you shouldn't do that, you should do this. No, she went away and did the research for herself to find out why she has that view now, which is why she's changed, which is very cool. So my question for you is, something for you to think about, is your opinion, your view or your belief, is it your view or has it been given to you? Now, if your view has been given to you, then you need to probably step back a little bit and go, okay, cool. Do I really agree with that? Or am I just doing what I was taught from my mum and dad and their mum and dad and so on, all my friends and my families and all this sort of stuff there. And if that is the case, and that is your opinion is formed upon someone else's impression upon you, then it's probably time that you can step back and then start creating some different, which leads into our next point in a second. You need to probably start asking some questions around, is that really the right direction for you to take? And are you thinking for you yourself, or like I said, or is someone else thinking for you?
Yeah.
You have anything to add to that, Sharon?
No, pretty good. And all I want to get it through with this is not an IQ session on vaccinations. It's just a really relevant question right now for all of us going around, because it's so in our faces right now. And it's something that everyone can understand because we're all faced with this question, right? And so this same point is relevant in every viewpoint that we've ever decided. It's relevant in our money decisions. It's relevant in our investment and our finance options. It's relevant in the way we do health, right? You know, some people are like keto for life, y'all, and some people are just not. And it's like anything, you can find science for and you can find science against. Every time. We cannot no longer rely upon the science, because reality is I can give you the science as to why keto will help you lose weight and it's a healthy option. And I can 100% give you science for why keto is not the way that you should go. So we can no longer rely upon science. So this is where it comes down to formulating your opinion based off your beliefs, your values, and doing your own research. Now, when we look at research, we also need to look at another couple of factors. Are you getting your information from good sources? The news, probably not a great source, whether it be vaccinations, whether it be finance, whether it be whatever it might be. News is probably not a great one. Like if it was to do with dental health, right? I would go to a dentist who has nice teeth. I'm not going to go to a dentist who's missing teeth, right? So it's making...
On that one there, really quickly, a friend of mine who was losing his hair went to a hair replacement clinic, and the doctor he sat down and was talking to was completely bald. And he was sitting there, and this salesman was bald, like thinning hair, balding, everything, and was telling him that this is the right way to go. So there you go. That's probably not a smart place to be at if that's the person that's talking to you. I would find that one
a little bit interesting.
Exactly right.
So making sure the quality of your information is great, and then also going into both sides of the argument too, researching down this way and researching down this way, so that you can formulate your own opinion. Because let's go take it back to the vaccinations. If you only research why vaccinations are a must and why they're the only way forward, then you're only going to find those answers, right? If you set out to buy a new car, all of a sudden, the car you've decided that you want to buy, you'll start seeing it everywhere, because we find what we're looking for, right? If you want to go out and buy a white Mazda 2, then I guarantee you'll start to see a shitload of white Mazda 2s on the road, because you're looking for it. So making sure that you get your opinion based off both sides of the story. Don't just look at one side. You've got to look at both from credible sources. That was the word I was looking for, credible sources.
There you go, you got that. Take the emotion out of that process too when you're looking at the other options. So like I said before, with that example we gave, the person who shared that story with me had a very valid reason as to why they will not go down that road again because of the near loss of their child. So that's a reason that you have to respect, regardless if you don't believe that what their decision is right for their family and the kids. But that's a genuine reason for that person to make a decision what's best for their children based off that experience. So they had a real life experience. The other side of it, the other people do not want this person to be correct also, because if they are correct and they have done said thing to their children, themselves and their family, then the challenge is that they're scared that what this person's saying is correct, because they may have potentially done something that has a really adverse effect on their children, family, or themselves. So they, on their hand, they have to dig their heels in and believe that what they did is right and hope that they did their research and not just listen to the channels that said, you must do. Because if you haven't done the research and you made a decision, that's a challenge, right? We're talking about opinions of other people right now. Again, you have to do your own research. You cannot change someone else's opinion. But what we're asking for you to do is to respect the other person's opinion, regardless of what you believe. You cannot change their opinion. They have their reasons, but seek to understand their reasons, question them, go, cool, I'm really intrigued as to why you have gone down that path. Do not lecture them, just listen to them. Maybe sympathize with them, empathize with them.
And listen to learn.
Exactly right.
Not listening for a gap in the conversation for you to put your point across. Listening to learn is a great way for you to then understand someone else's side of the story.
Exactly right. So number one, someone's opinion is someone's opinion.
Yep.
You need to respect that.
Cannot change it.
No. Like I said, it's like reducing fat.
They can change their own opinion eventually, coming to their own understanding, but you physically can't change theirs.
That's why when we see all the keyboard warriors, that not one person's ever changed someone's mind. Oh, that person has a good point on their rant that they're going on keyboards. That is the most silliest way to try and influence someone. It's someone venting, seeking attention for themselves. It's nothing to do with the cause. It's nothing to do with their views. It's purely to seek attention and have someone like their comment. Terrible, terrible, terrible. If you're a keyboard warrior, stop.
To find out who their sisters are. Who's my brothers in arms.
Anyway, number two, let's move on from that topic. Number two is ask questions. So you can't change people, but you can change yourself. Now, how you change yourself is you start to ask questions. Question everything. I'm talking, you go see a doctor, question what he's asking you, what he's about to give you. Okay, really important to do that. And I was talking to Sharon about this earlier. I think you should be like the Mr. Miyagi of questions. So if you've ever seen The Karate Kid, I believe this is a great analogy.
Loves the Karate Kid.
Yeah, who doesn't? Mr. Miyagi's the boss. He teaches Daniel's son to learn lessons of life, not through telling him, by getting him to do tasks. And Daniel formulates questions. Why am I doing this? I don't see the point in this. I want to learn karate, but I'm not doing karate. And he starts sooking.
He teaches him karate through waxing on and waxing off on a car.
Painting a fence and all those sorts of things there. So the lessons were taught. Daniel was asking questions. However, he was asking dumb questions. Okay, ask a dumb question, you get a dumb answer. Okay, that's the relevance of a question.
The person who said that there is no such thing as a silly question obviously asked a lot of silly questions and just wanted to make themselves feel better.
Exactly right. I've asked many in my time. And I really think that's really important to really emphasize that, is that the questions lead to better answers. So if you ask shit questions, you get shit answers, obviously. A
brilliant example of that is when you're in a funk, if you get depressed or in a depressive state, and you ask yourself, what is wrong with me? That there is numero uno of dumb questions to get a dumb answer, because you're only going to find what's wrong with you, right?
Fat butt. Pimple on your forehead.
Hey.
I mean,
I'll give you that. That's why I don't ask that question.
And I think another good one here, it seems that we're going on a very medical approach. I don't mean it to come this way. My next point is about medical as well. But it's relevant because I believe that we stopped asking questions of people and we rely on people to tell us what to do. That's the challenge that I have with people not asking questions. And I really think we have to learn to check our ego at the door and be too prideful going, I should know this. I'm a smart, intelligent person. I've got a bank account, a child, a family, whatever it is. And we need to check that at the door and be vulnerable and be open to ask the questions and to be wrong in our viewpoint and all that sort of stuff there. So doctors are good at prescribing pills, potions, and lotions, but much like a naturopath is good at, providing the begoji berries from the left-hand side of the mountain only in summer because it gets the sun at this time.
You clearly haven't visited many naturopaths, have you?
No. But again, it's their viewpoint on what they feel is the right thing for the person. So if you go to a doctor, to a GP, we'll call it that way, it's highly likely they're going to write you a prescription. You know, when you go there, you're looking for an antibiotic, you're looking for something, a cream or something to fix whatever is wrong with you. You've gone there knowing you're getting that coming back. However, it goes as far as this. I'll be sharing them. Hi, I got a rash.
You went to a rash?
Yeah, I know. It's just the most logical thing. Okay, cool. So
I don't. I've just got a pimple.
Sorry, I got a pimple.
Acne. There you go.
But she's gone to the doctor and is seeking of something to clear up the pimple, the rash, whatever it is. But she knows full well that when she goes there, that's what's coming her way. She's not going to have a chat and say, how's your day? What have you been up to? Let's catch a coffee sometime. She's going there for an exchange of something. That's part of the deal, right? However, this is how the conversation goes. She goes, hi, I've got a pimple. I don't like the pimples. I want to get rid of them. Doctor goes, cool. Take these scripts. Out you go. Done. You pay $80 at the door. You walk out the door. You go get your meds. No questions were asked in that process. It was purely trust and an exchange of a form that you believe the person on the other side. Rule number one, ask questions about what the hell you're about to put on your face. Because if something in that is you're allergic to, you're about to have an adverse reaction to that because you never asked the question, what's in this thing? Is there anything I should be concerned about? And ask those questions. So.
Is there any alternatives? Should I be looking at my diet? Should I be washing my face? I don't wash my face I do wash my face, but this is just for the story. Why do we use me?
Yeah, you're right there, and you're being cheeky. All right. So the challenge is that the conversation went in, I have this, I want this. That's it. No intellect has come into it other than you trust the doctor on the other side. Now, if you right now, it's even a great example on TV, right on Netflix, and pretty much everyone's watching it. There's a documentary on there about Dr. Death. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about a guy who's a back surgeon. And they're trying to prove it, whether he was doing it on purpose or he was just incompetent. He was putting people in, making them paralyzed, you're botching people's jobs up. He was the expert in the field, and people were going to him fully trusting that the surgeon was right on the other side. You do not know where their intent is.
So the point that Matt's trying to make here is that just because someone is a doctor doesn't mean they're 100% right 100% of the time.
Exactly.
You're allowed to ask questions, and we encourage questions no matter what it is. But I'm sorry that we're sticking to the medical field today. It's just it just seems to be easy enough for everyone to understand and and to relate to, right?
Yep.
So there's no harm in pretending to be the dummy in the room and asking all the questions. Because when you ask questions, you can then see if there's cracks in the expert's knowledge, because we can't expect let's say, for example, a GP to know everything in all of the medical professions and all of the medical things. They can only know so much with what they've been presented, right? Mm-hmm. And it's same with us, even in the exercise or the body anatomy and stuff. We know only so much at each time, and for us it's really, we take pride in knowing, in confirming that if we're not 100% correct, 100% sure on what we're about to talk about, we'll go, I'm sorry, I'll get back to you, I just want to confirm my information to make sure it's right. Because we like to check our ego at the door with that. But you can't expect Matt and I and our trainers to know everything there is about every muscle, every tendon, every ligament in the body. It's just, and we know at any time. And
we're happy to, like Sharon said, we're happy to check our egos. Actually, I don't know the answer to that. I will find it out.
Yeah.
And if we generally know the answer, we'll share that answer. We've got members in FBFM who go to a GP, so general practitioner, to seek dietary advice about how to lose fat. Now, going to a doctor asking about how do I lose fat, you are going to be given a pills, potion, or lotion. You're not going to be given an exercise regime, a gym membership. Here's what food you need to eat for the next few days, blah, blah, blah. Here's how you do it. They're going to prescribe something and give it to you and walk out the door. You have to ask the question, is the person I'm about to go talk about my dietary advice the right person to ask? Pretty quick to say no, they're not, because they don't specialize in dietary needs.
Now, you could take that same question to a surgeon and they're going to prescribe surgery. Let's cut it off you.
Yeah.
Is that the right person? Maybe, maybe not. However, we need to make sure that we're seeking the right information from the right experts.
Yeah, exactly right. So be that guy or girl who ask questions, just so when the doctor, when you go see your GP, they go, oh no, Sheridan's back. Because you ask questions on everything.
Not because of my rash.
No. No, because you're the person who constantly asks questions about everything. Well, why should I take that? What's in that? Tell me what's that? What ingredients are in that?
Ask us, why am I doing a lat pull down? Why aren't we doing sit-ups? Why are we doing deadlifts?
Question everything, okay? And do not hold back. And if, like we said, the person on the other side bluffs their way through it. You'll read bullshit. You're clever enough to know that if they're telling you the truth or not. If they can't tell you all the ingredients of what they're about to give you, that's an alarm bell. That's probably not the right thing to do if they cannot tell you what exactly is in it and if there is a consequence. What are the side effects? What do I get? What could happen? And in America, it's one of the weirdest things about being in America on TV is whenever they prescribe a pill, a potion, a lotion, a medical a vaccine, or whatever it is, and advertise on TV, they legally have to name all the side effects that could come from taking things. And so always
a favorite activity for Matt and I to do is when we go to America is sit down and watch TV for a length of time, because the adverts for medicines and stuff are hilarious. They're things like for, thrush or something like that, talks about getting like some incredibly
anal leakage.
Scary anal leakage. That is one of the
and it's like stuff like this. And we sit there and we go, oh, sign me up. I'll take 2. Like the side effects alone are enough to go, why the hell would you even take that? At the risk of that even one little minute % chance, it could happen. It screams. Logic says that's probably not the right place to go. I'm going to go ask some questions. I'm not going to trust when the doc says, here, take this cream, pill, potion, lotion. So ask questions on everything and do not be too proud to say, I'm good, thank you, at the end of it, if you don't like what you hear.
It might fix the thrush, but I'm not sure the anal leakage is a great alternative.
You might be wearing white pants that day.
Do you reckon it's anal leakage gas?
Seepage, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's every time it seems
either
very
way,
common.
it's bad.
And it's the best part about it is there's a person going, oh, I've fixed my thrush, and like super happy. And then it's a list of all the things that they could have got during the time. It's like, you probably should weigh up whether that was worth it, pal. Anyway, number 1 is someone else's opinion is someone else's opinion. You cannot change it. All you can do is respect what other people do. They do not have to believe in what you believe in. It's their life, their choices. Do not try to change them. You're bashing your head against the wall. And we don't want to do that too, because it's a waste of time, wasted energy. You could be spending it elsewhere, investing in your family, investing in your kids and your time and yourself. So do those things that you love instead of trying to persuade someone's opinion. Just respect that they do not agree with you. That's okay. They have to come to their own conclusion. Number 2, ask questions and do not stop asking questions. Ask questions on everything and be proud to ask the question. There's no dumb question, only a question that's not asked. Okay? Except if you ask a dumb question, and we did say that was a dumb question. But you'll get better as you ask many, many, many questions. Number 3, to bring this thing home, nice and simple. We need you to think for yourself. My God, have we stopped thinking? We are the laziest society, I think, in all the evolutions we've gone through and the phases and the eras and all that sort of stuff there. We are so lazy.
Because we're drowning into information, but we're starving for wisdom.
Yeah, well, that's a good one.
I'm full of them tonight.
What was that? How'd you play on? That's a good one.
That was good.
I liked it. That's cool. Why we're saying this is because we have stopped thinking, because people are just looking for the easy way out. And you think about it, like, oh, what should I do? Oh, Uber Eats. Like, we don't even think anymore. We go down that road because it's quick, it's easy, it's general, it's quick. I don't have to do anything. Oh, what should we do? Oh, I don't know. We just sit back. We don't do any thinking, really drumming out, pulling out really creative thinking anymore. So when it comes time to make it a big, grand decision in our lives, we're too lazy to think about the consequences and the pros and the cons. We literally sit there and go, what's everyone doing? That's the viewpoint. What's everyone doing on TV? Everyone's doing, I better do that thing. Oh, everyone on Facebook saying, I better do that thing. We stop thinking about both sides of the story of the thing or whatever it is that we're doing. And we literally have gone down the road of, I better follow everyone and not offend anyone. And I'll do this because I don't want to stand out and think for myself. Because heaven forbid we use the brain. We go with what mum and dad taught us. And I always come back to mum and dad's impressions upon people, because I generally believe that most, not all, but most parents haven't nailed parenting with you and our own lives growing up. And that's okay. They've done the best with what they've got. And that's okay. You have to respect that that's what they thought in the moment was the right thing to do.
People aren't perfect. So to expect that your parents have done a perfect job is silly. So
silly.
we can only learn from them and try to do better.
And you learn from both sides. Learn from the things they did well and learn from the things they did not well.
Yeah.
You have to put a line on the paper and go, I didn't like how they taught me about this growing up. I loved how they did this. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to move this out of my life. It is your life. You do not have to change for anyone. No, regardless of offending your mum and dad, that needs to go out the window. So that's stupid, because that means you're governing how you think you should live based on offending your parents. And that thinking is not your thinking. It's their thinking. It's an impression upon you on how you approach life. Because the scary part about that one is it pushes on to the next level down, which is your children. Now, the kids of today are lazier than ever. Like, they have technology at their fingertips. They don't have to do anything. Teenagers don't do anything. They're depressed. They take pills to deal with emotions. They don't even talk about shit. They don't know how to deal with it. They just do the easy way out. And they've got this slippery road ahead of them, years and years of heartache and torment and stuff, if no one teaches them how to do it. So the catch is, because they stopped thinking and mum and dad did all the thinking for them, they haven't let their creativity come out to problem solve something that's in the now, right in front of their face. A good example would be if your kid was to do something naughty, instead of reprimanding that child for the actions, it would be a right time to go back a step to what we just talked about and question their way through it. Let them come up with, I did wrong. You don't need to tell them. They know in their soul. They're smarter than you tenfold. Don't give them any more credit than they're better than you. They're smarter than you, and they should be smarter than you. Don't ever take that from them. A child is going to be better than you. And if they're not, by the time they get to adulthood, I believe the parent hasn't done their job. They should aim for their kids to do better than what they did in life, and life would be a lot better because everyone would be moving forward in a better direction. So instead of reprimanding and lecturing and pointing, and what I'm doing right now really is I'm doing exactly what I said not to do, but I'm going to get my point across, is I'm talking at you instead of questioning you through it, okay? But the reality is, if I asked you a series of questions, you would come up with the answer and go, oh, he's actually right. And if you ask yourself, do you do things that your parents did to you? You would say yes. We all do. Now you have to go, do I like what my parents have taught me when shit hits a fan? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, what could I do better to make sure I don't do that to my children so they don't do it to their children, and so on and so on and so on. See, it can change at you. It doesn't have to keep going down the family tree line. And it takes someone ballsy enough to say, actually, mum and dad, you don't know everything. I'm okay. I'm grateful for what you gave me. I'm grateful for all the things the good things you did for me, but I'm also grateful for all the bad things that I don't agree with, because it allows me to not do that in this next chapter of my life. Taking ownership and thinking for yourself, teaching your kids to think for themselves. They're literally, mum and dad do everything, put their shoes on, do this sort of stuff, tell them what to do, get your book, get your bag, get you this. All these things are taught things, and the kid doesn't have to think about anything. Like, what I have to do next month? Grab bag. Oh, give my bag. Grab my shoes. Oh, mum, what? Where's your jacket? Oh, better get my jacket. They don't think because you don't question, you tell. And if you tell someone what to do all the time, they never learn. They rely upon it. Then we wonder why there's this massive depression coming through of people when they've reached teenagers. It's because they've had everything handed to them all the way through. And then when they get to teenage land and they leave school and they go out and do the thing, this mum and dad have had enough of telling them what to do, and they step back. Then all of a sudden they're waiting for someone to tell them what to do. So all of a sudden we have this crazy onflow because the kids have never been taught to think for themselves. Anything to add to that one, Shirley?
No, it's pretty good.
I really ran on that one from sweating. It's so hot So I got a couple more points I just wanted to talk about really fast. So don't speak at your kids is one of them. And then the other one is, if your kids are calling you for help, don't help them and answer what they're asking for. Question them into them answering it for themselves. Because if they come up with the answer, they buy into it and they believe it. If you tell them the answer, you've given them an out for why it won't work. Okay? It's the same reason when we're training people in the gym, is when people try and get out of things, I never argue with them. I just agree with them and I let them come up with that. They usually tell me, I can't do this. And I don't agree with it. So I just keep them moving through it, and then eventually they do it. So they figured out they could do it on their own, not because I said, you can do this. I literally tell them when they say, I can't do this, I go, yeah, I agree. So I agree with them, and then they still go away and do it. So they figured out they could do it on their own, not because Matt said, you must do it, you can do it, I can pump you up, I can do this. So when your children are in that zone of reaching out and asking for help, you have to become like Mr. Miyagi of questions and question them to think for the answers themselves. Don't let the asking for help think that it's love reaching out to you, seeking your opinion. They're looking for an easy way out. Don't give them the answer. Get really good at questions to get them to think of their answer so that they can tap into their brain and teach their kids the same things you taught them.
It's kind of harnessing their own imagination, right? 100%. To help problem solve or come up with different solutions and stuff like that, rather than relying upon someone else's information, which could also be one-sided and their opinion as well. So asking questions is really important. A really good way to get better at questions is a thing we call outing, and it's ask a question, listen to the answer, and then formulate a question based off that answer. This is a great way to have really good communication skills, but it's also, it's just a great way of getting good at asking questions as well. And remember, we're listening to learn, not listening to wait for a break in the conversation so that you can talk again.
Be interested, not interesting.
Yes.
So be interested in the person you're speaking to. So if you find that you're speaking the whole time in the conversation, you're trying to be interesting, but you want to be interested. So 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them more than the mouth and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially when it's parenting, like that's a big one. Like really seek to hear them, but don't give them all the answers. Let them, they're so intelligent when they tap in there. They're not limited like we are. We've had so much stuff with the ability to get in our own way that we allow it to get in our own way, and we've stopped making decisions for ourselves. We rely on the media, Facebook, friends, and family to do these decisions. We just talked about it a bit earlier. But don't let your kids go down that road. Teach them to be a great questioner. Teach them that it's okay for someone to have a different opinion. You do not have to have the same opinion as someone else. You can have your own opinion, formulate that. Tell them to be confident in asking questions, and always tell them it's okay to think for yourself, because to do otherwise is silly. It means you're being a sheep and you're destined for a life of very average, unfortunately.
And I think the reason, so there's 3 points there. Someone else's opinion is literally that, their opinion. And people come up with different ways of getting that opinion, and we need to be more empathetic rather than demanding of people following your opinion. Like, not every person is right. And then ask questions and then think for yourself. Now, how does this relate to being the series of how to be unshakable? If we master these, the outside world doesn't affect us. Like if we're forever trying to change someone else's opinion, you're going to be pretty shaken because it just ain't going to work, right? So not letting the outside world affect us is a great way of being unshakable. And especially in a situation like in the world we're in today, go out and learn for yourself and challenge your own beliefs and your own value systems, and see if that is the road that you want to continue on. Going back to the vaccines, if you're a vaccinator and you do your research and you want to continue vaccinating, sensational. If you're not and you don't, or you want to, it doesn't matter. And it's not about, I'm so sorry that we resorted to so much to medical stuff today, but I just felt that it was really relevant for all of us to understand, is that it doesn't matter. And if someone else has a different view, it's not that they're a bad person. It's not that, you've got to understand that we've all come up with our opinions and our values and our beliefs because of either things that have happened to us, and we've all got our own story. And to be a little bit more empathetic that way can help you be more unshakable and kind of be a bit more still in a crazy world.
Yep. I like it.
You like it? Cool.
I think that's us.
I think that's it. 3 points, part 2 of the series. And if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, we highly recommend that you do, pretty please. And we only do these sessions because, quite often we don't pre-plan these sessions because we want to see what's relevant in our world today and what people are needing and seeking it to understand as well. If you ever have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, please reach out. But we're always so grateful that you guys give up your time, whether it's now as a live session or if you're listening to this later on. because we get quite a few replays, which is incredible. So we're really, really grateful. These are accessible to the outside world as well. So if you know that if someone you know needs to hear this, please forward it on to them and let them learn. Because if our mission in life is for FBFM is to create a disease-free world, one person at a time through simple health and fitness. And these kind of topics are part of the health side of things. And if we can help someone be a little healthier when it comes to mental health, then we've done our job. So we're all about it, but we're so grateful to you guys investing your time into learning and educating. We challenge you to go out and question your own values and your own beliefs and see if they've just been impressed upon you, and if you want to continue with them, or if you want to change. You can't change other people, but you can change you. So go out, be unshakable. And then tomorrow, just so you know, tomorrow, Friday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30, whilst we're in lockdown, we're bringing back Cuppa and Chat. So we'd love you to join us online. And we talk about a topic, but we also just catch up and connect and stuff too. So thank you guys so much. We love you. If you have any questions, you can wave at me. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. Oh, I like that. That's really good. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. Ash Denham has provided the goods on that one. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, you can get in touch with us afterwards. But we're very, very grateful. I feel like Tanya's writing some wisdom into the chat box. 20 push-ups, Dean.
Oh, the internet's going.
Oh, we're frozen.